please let me know. Did the copies arrive at your studio
Yeah,
yet?
yeah, I put them out in the lobby. Thank you so much. That's so exciting.
Yay. Well, it's good, so good to finally connect with you. We've been trying for a little while, and there's been a lot going on with you. So I'm so happy that you're here, and you can, share a little bit about your studio, how you came to be. So if you can just introduce yourself to start.
Yeah, yeah. My name's Shaunna Sutcliffe. I'm the owner here at Rising Tide Yoga and Wellness. And I'm just going to flip my camera around and do like a quick little tour of this space here. So we're sitting up for a women's circle. So we have our gong right here because we're going to do a little sound healing. It's a very small studio. We have Pilates, so we use these balls, pretty prop closet, our mural here. And then you're going to see me. Here's our giant dream catcher. You're going to see me in the mirror here. So it's little space. We hold about 18 max. Yeah. And let me see if I can flip the camera around. Yeah. And I actually started working here. I've owned this for a little over 2 years now. I actually started working here in this space in 2009 as a teacher. Wow. When this used to be another studio called Epidavros. Yeah. And we're in Gresham, Oregon, so we're the 4th largest city in Oregon. We're just east of Portland, Oregon. And we're the only yoga studio in Gresham right now. And at the time I started teaching, I was working for the city of Gresham for an environmental science job that I had essentially, gone to school for. Right. And during the pandemic, of course, I was laid off and was really thankful for that because I was just able to pursue yoga full time. In 2017, I had gone to get my 500-hour in yoga therapeutics and then pursued a certification called Karma Vinyasa, all with Yoga Union in Portland with my teacher, Annie Adamson. And so I was starting to see clients one-on-one for therapeutics. And when I was laid off, the owner here asked me if I would take on managing the space. Right. We had 2 studios at the time. We were dealing with, you're allowed to be open. Now you're not allowed to be open. You have to wear masks. Now people have to be 10 feet away. Right. And it was just a lot to juggle. And we lost a lot of business during that time. A lot of classes were virtual. People really didn't want to do virtual. We have a lot of seniors. We have a large percentage of our students are over 55 here. And so they just didn't want to do the virtual option. So in January of 2022, Epidavros announced they couldn't continue. They would be closing their doors. And, the community, me as the manager of the studio at the time, stepped up and asked me if I wanted to open a yoga studio. And my initial thought was, how hard can it be? So now I know. So we opened March 1st, 2022. And it was a very slow year. Luckily I had some pension from my government job to help, pay for the studio and carry me through that year. And the second year in 2023, things really started opening up. People started coming back in January. They felt healthy. They didn't have to wear a mask. And our community really started building. And we started really building our workshops and our retreats. And we started these monthly women's moon circles that land on either the new moon or full moon. Sometimes it'll be like in the middle, it'll be waxing or waning, something or other. But this community has really grown with that. And I feel like I don't have to, worry anymore after almost 2.5 years. I feel like, okay, we're going strong. And in January of 2024, people really showed up and it's been continuous. So even though we're small, we're mighty, everyone knows everyone here. Everyone loves each other here. And the teachers are really involved, and it's a really great place to be. When you step into the space, you can really just feel the love and the support and the good vibes.
I love that. And it really was, it's funny because you were managing the studio before you owned it. So you had you knew kind of what you were getting into, right? A little bit.
I was like helping with payroll and hiring teachers and helping with the volunteers, but I wasn't really doing a lot of the, the budgeting and the marketing and the sales and running the software. And it was a huge learning curve for me, a huge learning curve. I went to school for environmental science. I didn't take a single business class. No finance classes were required. But I was able to get a small business grant through Mercy Corps, and so I had to take their small business class, which was really helpful. And got a really small grant that just helped us get through the summer last here essentially because summer is a really slow time traditionally for yoga studios. Right. And I'm just really grateful for, and I've had even a couple students supporting us, you know, when we are running low on cash flow and we're talking about, okay, we're going to have to cancel some classes and pull back, you know, students will step forward with donations and help. And it's just been a real community effort to make sure we can keep going.
Wow. And thank goodness, right? That it's just, I feel like that's yoga and wellness in general is unique in that sense, right? That your community really will step in and really look out and help each other and help you get through it. I'm curious, when you took those business classes, since, you know, you do teacher trainings to become teachers, but to open studios, there's no training for that, right? It's really kind of learn as you go along. When you took that business class, what was the best piece of business advice that you took from that, like that you would want to share for someone that might be thinking of opening a studio or already runs a studio and could use a bit of business advice?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I had come from a background of marketing and outreach and event planning, so that stuff I already really understood, and like building community has always been really innate to me. I've just always been doing that. So that piece is really important. If someone doesn't have that piece, trying to learn that piece can be difficult, but it can be done. So for me, the most important piece that I learned was like the finance and the budgeting piece of it. And, you know, essentially creating a template for the budget and then looking at, you know, what would all of my expenses be, and learning how to change that each month when my expenses change. And it just, for months and months and months, I was just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, like learning as I went. And so that stuff really helped. And now I can understand, like, you know, budgeting into the future and saving and setting money aside to make sure that we don't die in the summer, you know.
Right.
And then also figuring out, like, some of the marketing stuff wasn't intuitive to me, like figuring out how to get out there at farmers markets, for example. Just like hand people cards that say, you know, free yoga for your first class, and building community from people you don't know. So we eventually joined the Gresham Chamber of Commerce, which is a really strong community of business owners, and all the business owners support each other. So that was something that was a good idea, I think, for us. And what else did I learn? There was, honestly, all the finance stuff was brand new to me. Insurance, and, you know, also as a yoga studio owner, we all need software to run a studio. And so I feel like there should be yoga studio business academy specific class I could have taken for that, and there wasn't anything, at least for me at the time. And so when I went into choosing softwares, I had to essentially interview all the software companies, and it took me months and months and months. And then once I landed on a software, I chose Wellness Living, which is one of the bigger softwares, and Mind Body is the most known. It wasn't functioning and doing all the things I thought it would do or I needed it to do. And so I feel like I could have used like guidance with that, you know. It seems like a whole nother job to run the software.
It's true. When you're a small business owner, you do everything. You know, it's like, I remember at one point someone was asking me something and they said, do you run the Instagram or do you do the graphics? And I said, I do everything. Like I sweep the floor, I do the, you know, every single thing. And you have to, you know, I mean, one, because you love it, it's your baby. Right. And also it's kind of a financial need too. It's like, I can't really pay people. So I kind of have to do it all myself, and it's okay. But I think, you know, as we do this and get hopefully stronger, and our business skill set gets stronger, you know, hopefully it'll help and we'll grow. And I think that that's sort of an area where studio owners are always trying to learn more and be a little bit stronger. You know, community is great. You're teaching beautiful things. You have beautiful lineups, but that business sense is always that key part. It's an interesting thing. I'm curious about your location. Is it a tourist location? You said it was slow in the summer. Is it, what if for someone who's never been to your town?
We're not a tourist location. No, I mean, Portland, Oregon is the biggest city in Oregon, so we're just east of Portland. And in the summer, in Oregonians mostly just want to play outside. especially on weekends. And if it's nice outside, if we call it the big yellow thing in the sky, if that's out, like people aren't going to come into a class inside. And they're not going to come to hot yoga when it's 90 degrees out.
Yeah.
And we don't only have hot yoga, but we have some hot yoga. And so we really reduce those. And I think that like our gentle classes, a lot of seniors attend our gentle classes at Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Those remain pretty packed, but the weekend classes and the evening classes, it can be really hit or miss and kind of a ghost town.
Yeah.
So sometimes we would take off a lot of the weekend classes, but this summer, we have more members this summer than ever. Obviously, this is only our, we're going into our third year now. So I'm going to keep on a lot of the classes and just see what happens. Yeah. And if I have to take some off, I'll kind of say, this is the summer schedule, but, if we have to remove some, and I do have a lot of help, when you were talking about, doing everything yourself. At first, it really was everything myself because I couldn't afford to pay help and I didn't know how to ask for help. And then I realized that, I could ask for help. So I do have a couple of helpers right now. One of my main teachers, Katrina, who's over here setting up for our women's circle. Maybe she'll pop her face in and say, she does a lot of the classes and workshops here. So she helps me do a lot of the event planning and retreat planning. And then I finally figured out that we can ask for help from our community. We have a program called Karma Yogis. So there's lots of people that, would like to attend yoga classes, but can't necessarily afford it as much as they would like to. So we offer free yoga in exchange for one shift a month, helping at the front desk. So the front desk folks help check in for most of the classes. And it's been like another way that our community has really built because I think we have 10 Karma Yogi helpers now. And then I have one person who's doing trade to help me with my marketing and Instagram. Before I was, doing all the Instagram, all the flyer creation, all the emails that would go out. So I have another helper right now who's helping me do like the weekly emails and the marketing emails. And now I can focus on like the bigger picture, like building the community, going to those chamber meetings, going to bigger events. Like we're going to the Bend Yoga Festival next weekend. And so we'll be a vendor there and just things that kind of help build our community and our brand a little bit more than, week by week classes. Here's Katrina.
Hi, Katrina.
Hi. Katrina is an amazing teacher and sound healer, and I couldn't do any of this without her.
And I think what you said is important too, right? Asking for help, right? So we all need to ask for help. And our friend Wole, he's actually one of our London, he's listening right now. He just put a comment. He's just opening his own studio in London. And we have to hear your story once you open, but remember, ask for help, it's like, I think we definitely get into that. He's like, yeah, high five. And I forget too, because I get really in sort of the mode of what I'm doing. And then you're just like, just do all the things. And then there's always people that are like, I can help you. And you're like, yeah, come help me. So I think that's a great reminder to anyone, that's starting and launching a business. And your name, how did you come up with a name? Because you had to essentially rebrand, right?
Yeah. So Rising Tide Wellness was kind of my side business when I was teaching and working for the city. And it's really ocean themed because I'm a surfer. I love the ocean. I find a lot of healing, both emotionally, physically, spiritually from the ocean. And I was doing all these beach and surf yoga retreats. And just there's a lot of science behind healing with water. So if you are in, near, on, or underwater, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, people have seen like miracle healings, overcoming depression, overcoming PTSD, overcoming, injuries, pain. And I really wanted to kind of harness that healing energy from the water element and pull that into my name. So like, it's like rising up. It's like, pulling in from the power of the earth and realizing that we have this innate power within us to heal and to grow.
I love that. And you offer, like you mentioned, you're not just yoga. You have so many offerings. I think, did I even see you have aerial yoga as well? You have aerial, you have sound bath, you have circles, and you do a lot of retreats. Like it seemed like there was a lot coming up, and your next one was when is your next one actually? I can't remember when your next one is.
Coming up in October. It's a day retreat at the Society Hotel, about an hour from here. And then Katrina and I are going to go back to Costa Rica
Oh,
in February of 2025. You want to
yeah.
talk a little bit about that one?
Yeah, sure. So my family has a permaculture, agroforestry, reforestation farm down there in Costa Rica.
Wow.
So we've been down there since 2006.
Yeah.
And it's my cousin who started this property and collective.
Mm.
And his partner at the time when they moved down there, she was a belly dancer, and so they built this really beautiful studio with mirrors for her, and to have other events and yoga and stuff there. So we have this really beautiful yoga space, kind of in the middle of nowhere, and off grid. You know, like
Yeah.
cell service, no internet. It's a really beautiful place to be and retreat and
Yeah.
the reunion with nature and ourselves and our practice. So
important, right? This opportunity to just turn off your phone.
Oh
It's just so.
my gosh.
Someone posted the other day, they had gotten the magazines and they posted a photo of the magazine and a cup of tea, and I was like, perfect. That's exactly what I hope the magazine does when people read it. It's just that opportunity to just detach from everything, and that's why retreats are so perfect, because you do more than yoga, right? It's an opportunity to just unwind and relax and just reset your brain.
Yeah.
And it's
like
your second time. Sorry.
Refine yourself, because we get so busy and all the things we have to do, right? All of our responsibilities, go, human doing. And then we can just like pause and step into our human being, and it gives you a chance to like remember like why we're on this planet, or what our dharma is, or how we need to grow.
Yeah. You talk, Shaun, a lot about on the website about healing with medicine, healing with food as medicine, and a lot of that. And that seems to be a big part of your offerings at the studio as well. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I would love to. So I have been diagnosed with Lyme disease many years ago now. I think maybe like 2014 or 15, and tried all these holistic treatments and traditional medicinal treatments, and just really wasn't finding any relief at all from symptoms, or like killing Lyme. And I had this like epiphany that, even though I was eating relatively like healthy, I was gluten-free, dairy-free, whole food, I was like, there's something missing. And so I wanted to get my health coach certification and just really figure out more about how the body works. And I think a lot of us know this now. There's this whole food revolution, and as soon as I started just learning about how my brain and body work and really work together, and figuring out that sugar is in everything, and it is the culprit of a lot of disease and a lot of inflammation, and a few other culprits for me, because every body is different. Things cause inflammation, but for some people it'll be nightshades, and for some people, sugar won't bother them. But most people, I think sugar does bother them, and they just don't know because they haven't removed it. And I stepped into whole foods eating, and just really trying to think about like, what can I eat that is one ingredient, so like if I put several ingredients together, that's fine, or sauces that myself. And I started feeling, after maybe 3 or 4 days of not eating sugar, I felt like a switch had been turned off.
That
like
fast.
inflammation went away. And I had been diagnosed from the Lyme disease with early onset rheumatoid arthritis, and they're like, here, you can take hydrochloroquine. It's this major medication we use for arthritis, but it could cause peripheral blindness or eventual complete blindness. And I was like, no thanks. There's got to be another way. And with removing sugar and removing most processed food, removing a lot of grains, even gluten-free grains, and just really focusing on whole foods eating, I don't identify with having arthritis anymore. I rarely get those symptoms. If I get sick, I'll start to get inflamed. Other things can inflame that, but it's not really a part of my life anymore.
Wow. It's just information, right? So it's like you had to do all this research, and then it's sharing it with the community. Sometimes it could be as simple, as removing a few things from your diet, or it could be more complex. I had a friend who told me when she tried to stop sugar, it felt like a drug.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what they say a lot,
Yeah.
that it's like a drug in your system. And she was just, it was a horrible experience for her. But she did say that she felt incredible after, you know. I think she did it for like 3 weeks. I think it was like a 3 week sugar. And it's like you said, it was like all sugars, and it's in it's in like ketchup. It's in
Yeah.
everything, things you don't
It's
even
in
think
salad
of.
dressing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And they put it, the food makers put it in there because they want us to keep buying their food, you know. And it's even in like healthy food. Like if you get like a vegan mac and cheese, you know, sugar. You get like you know, a healthy smoothie on the shelf, sugar. You know, they'll even add sugar to like juices. It's like they just want us, you know, yogurt, everything has it, and it's bread. And when you start really looking at it's in chips, like when you start really looking at the ingredients, you realize that, oh, I'm eating fairly healthy, but sugar is an ingredient in 5 to 10 things I'm eating a day. And if you just take those 10 things out, and then intentionally you can eat sugar, you know, occasionally, and be intentional about it and be like, I know I'm consuming this. But if you're consuming it a little bit all of the time, it's just adding inflammation. It's fogging our brain. It's not letting our synapses fire as much as they should be. It's weakening our immune system, and we just eventually get sick.
Do you find when you travel and you do the retreats, or when you go to Costa Rica, or you do any of this traveling experience, is it harder or easier to eat the way you want to eat? I mean, do you find like in other countries, like I feel like, I hate to say this, but Americans are horrible at eating.
I know,
and sometimes when you go, you know, live in like Costa Rica and it's easier to eat better. Is that true? I mean, I would assume it is.
I think so. What do you think?
Well, when we're at the farm, we have all our meals prepared. Most of it comes from the land. It's all fresh, and we don't eat processed foods at all down there. So it's really easy to get into the rhythm of healthy and consistently. And I think that's a key point in our health as well, as having consistent feeding times. And so when you're on that rhythm, like we get down there, you just feel so much better automatically, and you're getting up and you're doing yoga and you're moving your body and all these things. It's a really easy rhythm to get into. And then we were joking around because we left and we're done with the retreat. We're like, who's gonna feed us now? Now we have to figure out how to eat on our own again. It's the whole thing.
We were able, especially in Costa Rica, we were able to find some really delicious whole food restaurants. And like, even when you look at, you know, the menu in Costa Rica or Mexico and probably like India too, because Katrina travels to India quite a bit. It's just real food. You know, you don't have to ask, like, is there gluten in this? Is there sugar in it? Because it's so transparent. It's just like 4 ingredients, you know, beans, rice, tofu, veggies. It's like, it's fine. You don't have to worry. I do feel like Latin American countries, I can eat gluten-free a lot easier. In Costa Rica, it's really easy to eat vegan, sugar-free, you know, dairy-free. But yeah, traveling in the U.S., when we have retreats, it's much harder. It's much, much harder. Our food system is not built for health. Our food system is built for addiction. It's built for quick satisfaction. You know, even healthy protein bars will have tons of sugar in them because they're like, we want you to like these protein bars and buy them again. So I think, you know, we probably found that the easiest thing to do is to make your own food. But in our little bubble here, we have identified a few restaurants downtown Gresham where we know we can get, you know, healthy food most of the time, and what those items are. But traveling, it's almost easier, I feel like.
Yeah, it's interesting because it especially like nowadays, I feel like it is a little bit easier in this country to eat better. There is more awareness now than there probably was 10 years ago, but we're still not at the level where other countries are. I mean, when you hear about our foods being banned in other countries, there's a problem. You're like, wow, some countries don't even allow certain foods into their country. Like, that should stop and make us think. Do you ever think with your studio expanding in any way? Like, will it always be a studio? Like, I feel like there's so many other things here, or do you kind of want to keep it how it is, or is there plans for the future?
We do also teach virtual classes. So whole yoga, the guy in I think he said London had asked that. So we do have virtual classes. About a third of our classes are also virtual. So you could just register for those ahead of time and you'll get the link emailed to you, or you can go into the online portal and click your join class. And your first class is always free. That applies to virtual classes as well. And Katrina has a lot of virtual classes, and I do too. And I know we love teaching people from all over the world. So please join us.
Yeah.
Since our studio is so small, I do have dreams of expanding, but it might mean, you know, relocating or expanding the walls. But like we've been talking about food a lot, and here in Gresham we have sort of a healthy food desert. We have one Whole Food store out of like 10 grocery stores, you know, so there's no Trader Joe's, there's no New Seasons or Whole Foods. There's one Natural Grocers. And there's no restaurants where we can just go get like a delicious kale salad or an acai bowl, you know?
Yeah.
And or a real smoothie.
Yeah, no smoothie.
It's you go get a smoothie, and I'm like, is this your puree with a bunch of sugar added and the milk with the sugar added, or is it real? Because all you have to do to make a smoothie is put real fruit in it and add some water or milk. Like it's not
It's
that
less
hard.
work.
And we don't have that here. And so, you know, my dream would be to have more of a real wellness center where people could come in, there'd be a little cafe, you know, we could get smoothies, bowls, teas, you know, go do a sauna, go do a hot yoga class, maybe do a cold plunge, and just kind of like a more like a full service, you know. And Katrina and I both do yoga therapeutics with clients one-on-one. We use the aerial swing for those therapeutics as well. Katrina does Reiki. I do health coaching, you know, so a place where we could also have like more practitioner rooms, because right now we're sort of fighting with ourselves for space in the studio to see clients. So we have to like really juggle the schedule, and it would just be nice to be able to expand and not worry about that stuff. So eventually we might see that happening, you know. There's also a part of me that wants to like just buy property in Mexico and like move everything down there. And so, you know, maybe we keep this space here, but that would be what that expansion looked like. So there's a lot of potential. You know, we're only in our third year, but things feel like they're flowing really well right now. So part of me also doesn't want to disrupt that flow.
Well, and there is something really nice, you know, when you offer so many things in one space, someone might come for one thing and then learn about another. So maybe they come for yoga and they learn about Pilates, or they say, oh, there's this other thing. And that's the beauty of everything kind of in that one literally room. They'll just see it one after the other. So there's, you know, there's benefits to all. But when I'm hearing you speak and when I was looking at your website, I was like, I feel like she should have like a whole center, like a whole, like with all the things that you're offering. It seemed like I was surprised it was just the one room when it was, you know, I was like, all right, I can see where this is going.
Yeah. I mean, we have a few things that we offer, like, you know, in our lobby, we have some healthy snacks and drinks and props and clothes and stuff like that. But a lot of our, I feel like a lot of our retreats and workshops are what elevates our space. They're not all here, you know, we go out, we go to the park, we go to these retreat centers, we travel the world. And so that, I think that helps us imagine, you know, outside of these walls.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to share with us today? It's been so great meeting and chatting with you both today, and thank you for connecting, and thank you for supporting our publication as well.
Yeah,
we try to incorporate music, food, everything that we can think of, because for us it's the same. You know, it's not just the asana, it's not just the yoga, it's everything and how we want to live our lives with joy, I guess. That was a shameless plug. But anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up today?
We have a few events coming up. So for those in the Portland area, we have a kids camp this summer in August, and it's really fun. We use the aerial swings, we do yoga, we go to the park, we go to the splash pad. So Katrina and another teacher, Maddie, is teaching that. If anyone's in the Portland area, we have a lot of events coming up, including sound healings and breath workshops with Katrina, and some Ayurvedic workshops with some of our other teachers. And then October 5th, we're going to the Society Hotel, which is thank you. It's a new moon, October 6th. It's this amazing hot springs hotel, just about an hour from here. And we have the sanctuary all day, and we really dive deep with growth and, you know, resetting. And then we get to soak in the soaking pools and the sauna and the cold plunge afterwards. We're planning a retreat, hopefully for Mexico in December, and then we'll announce very, very soon our February 2025 dates for our Costa Rica retreat at Verde and Hergia, which is the farm. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, they're really looking forward to having us back every time we're there. They're so grateful to have us. And it's not necessarily a yoga retreat
Mm,
center.
right.
It's more of a learning center. They do teach
Mm,
culture there, and there's a lot of working on the farm. So it's not your typical idyllic like retreat
right.
center, but when we're there, they cater to us in that way, and it turns into a really beautiful space for us. And then we'll venture off to the beach somewhere. We haven't decided exactly where yet, and we'll do part of the retreat at the beach as well. So it's a
I
really
love
fun
it.
adventure, and just to get to, you know, the neighbors around our farm come and hang out and get to know the
Yeah.
locals, and it's more like living in Costa Rica rather than being a tourist there.
Wow.
It's amazing.
And I always say to people, like, retreats are, even if you don't do yoga or you don't want to do yoga while you're, they're a great opportunity to just travel to new places and meet like-minded people. So, you can go and not do yoga if you want and just enjoy the beautiful meals and the company and see and experience a new place. So I love that you're doing it and all these things you're offering. And thank you so much for supporting us and joining our Joy Issue. We wish you all luck and hopefully we'll connect again soon and
Yeah,
keep us
thank you.
posted. I love that you have online yoga as well because that means anyone can practice anywhere in the world with you guys and then maybe meet you in person on one of your retreats. Right?
Yes, exactly.
I
Yeah.
love that. All right. Thank you so much. And thank you for connecting finally. Shaunna, I'm glad you did this.
Have a great day.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.